Welcome to episode 4 of the Gemini Way. Today we're with Mark Hadaway on the theme of a new era. Mark Hadaway is best known for being content director at Isle of Claims and co-founder to ARC360, the Accident Repair Industry Forum. Having worked for over 15 years at Plenum Limited, Body Shop Magazine and Ibis Worldwide, Mark helped oversee the magazine, content and the PR services. In this episode, we talk about Mark's career and his interest in the health and fitness industry and how this has provided him with a unique blend of expertise in his career. So Mark, hello, thank you for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure to be here, thanks for inviting me.
Anytime. So the tables have turned, how does it feel? You're normally interviewing, so you're in the hot seat today.
How does it feel? Petrified is one word I would use, but I have to say it's very different being on this side, absolutely, as you say. I'm usually the one posing the questions where I feel more comfortable. So talking a little bit about myself today is something a little bit different, but on the journey here, I was listening to Tony Robbins, those who know Tony Robbins, motivational speaker, etc. So, get yourself out of your comfort zone and do something different.
So, bit of background then on yourself. Let's start from the very beginning. Where does it all start? Like, what did you do originally before creating ARC360?
My goodness. So, for far too many years, and I'd care to remember, I've been in this sort of the collision repair industry. Finished A-levels at school without really sort of a plan of action in terms of what I was going to do. Had a sort of an idea that I wanted to be, if obviously the professional football career failed, I wanted to be a sports journalist. And moping around the house, just finished A-levels, as I say. My sister at the time was working for a company called Plenum Limited, which is Body Shop Magazine. Asked me if I wanted to go and do a couple of weeks maternity cover there. And I did. 8 years later, I was assistant editor at the magazine and, kind of worked my way through the business and dare I say it, fallen in love with this industry at that point. I then did have a sort of sabbatical outside of the industry, so I'd always maintained my interest in sport, and then went on into sort of the sports world full-time for 4 or 5 years. Personal training, coaching, going into schools, doing sort of PE lessons and things. And then it kind of went full circle, really. I went back into the magazine, which then became sort of Ibis, the international side of the business, and was there as editor for another 8 years in total. So picked up an awful lot of skills there, huge gratitude to the people who guided my sort of early career and what I learnt in those early days from the people in that environment, and obviously made some great connections within the sector. It then got to the point where I thought, again, sometimes crave change, and I started doing some PR outside of the industry. So still within automotive, but sort of various other elements. So within the fleet world, within auction houses, within vehicle charging stations. So did that for, again, a short time, but as many people will know who've sort of, tried to, or at least, dabbled elsewhere in their careers, the lure of the industry often pulls you back and the rubber band only stretches so far. And then it came about, we sort of, brought about ARC360 under the umbrella of I Love Claims, which is obviously a very well established within the claims industry. So that was kind of the start of ARC360. And here we are today, working with yourselves as a partner of I Love Claims and ARC360 and, hopefully doing some great stuff within the industry.
No, definitely. So ARC360, this is the forum that gives, I guess, everybody within the accident repair industry that voice and a forum to speak. That was, I guess, you found that at a time where we didn't have that. So that falls under Isle of Claims very separately. What made you create that? You co-founded that, right?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, absolutely. I think we, so it's co-founded with I Love Claims founder, Chris Ashworth, who's a very well-known name within the industry. And we kind of put our heads together at that moment in time. And the idea was that we really wanted to cater for the sort of accident repair industry more than what we currently saw within the sector, using the I Love Claims model and bringing it across a little bit. So we came up with the idea of ARC360 as being that very forum that, would bring people together, have those conversations, and again, still working over or should I say, under the underlying remit of Better Tomorrow, which is the I Love Claims sort of strapline. We gave it a little twist, gaining ground together, because, again, I think what we learn from previous and obviously what Chris brought to it from his experience at I Love Claims is having that forum where people can openly discuss the challenges, opportunities, what's happening in the market, what's going to happen in the future, is essential for everybody, because, the world is changing around us. The industry is changing massively. There's so much going on, not only in the industry itself, but in the business world. And to provide that environment, really, that we can, openly discuss these things. And again, I think that's kind of, was the sweet spot for us, really, was really to get the repairers on board and start to bring those conversations to the fore, have those high-level discussions where hopefully, we can all play our part in, taking the industry forward into its, its next era, new era.
No, we find ARC360 and all the events you do for gaining ground together very beneficial. I know we went to your event last July.
That's correct, yep.
Dave was, there was a bit of a debate about EVs and how we're moving across to EV vehicles. So no, have you got any of the big events coming up that we'll be a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. First and foremost, that's on record, so we'll take that away with us. High praise indeed. But no, it's great to work with you guys. And Dave, yes, absolutely. At the EV event last year was the evolution was the theme. As we transition across to electric vehicles, of course, there's an awful lot in the industry that's happening. Yep. Industry to keep pace and just make sure, that everything is in place to cater for what's happening out there. That comes from insurers, that through to repairers and the supply chain and everyone in between. And then Dave also joined us in October at the I Love Claims exclusive motor conference, where he gave a presentation on claims inflation from a repairer perspective. So it's always good, always great to work with you guys. Dave brings a very honest opinion to things, which is fantastic. And I have to say, it's always, very well, highly valued, appreciated from the audience. So yeah, and that is in essence the very conversations we are looking to create, is that simple honesty of the industry, the open dialogue. If these are the things, whatever the things may be, challenges, opportunities, then let's bring them to the fore, let's discuss them, and let's find a way as an industry to move on. So it's great. It's great to have that sort of opinion and intake from you guys at Gemini. And obviously we work closely as well on the apprentice side of things. We do, yeah. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in the last couple of years with the apprentice presentations that you've done, awards, which has been, incredible for us at ARC360. And, I certainly hope it's something that we can continue to build on. So this year for ARC360, absolutely, lots of things in the pipeline, lots of content coming out, again, to continue those conversations. Big event in a tail end of June coming up, plans to be revealed very shortly, but again, very much looking forward in the industry as what's coming, what's in the pipeline, what have we all got to contend with in the future, how do we navigate it, and then continue those discussions throughout the year, really, with lots of constant kind of, information to market, feedback, the term thought leadership from our various partners. Again, we just want to share insights and get the industry, discussing these things moving ahead. Yeah. And from an ILC perspective, lots of events supporting all of that. So again, very much based around, the claims world from the motor side. But we also have new generation. Last year we had risk and compliance. So all of these things are absolutely relevant to the automotive incident repair industry that, we all work in.
No, it's very exciting. And I know that, most likely, again, we might do like a Work Well Fest event, maybe around some of the big days that are coming up. So back to you then, Mark. A little birdie told me you not only went off to do, I guess, what you wanted to do in fitness, and then applied that skills as you sort of come back and built your way up with I Love Claims and ARC360. But you went off and did your MBA a bit later in life. Yeah, tell me about that.
Bit later in life. But yes, that is absolutely what happened. So part of the conversation that we're having today is kind of me revealing in terms of my career path. It's not been a linear trajectory. I haven't been in the industry all the time. There's been a few sort of curveballs, but everything I think I've done has kind of contributed to where I am today and the things I do for ARC360 and I Love Claims. So absolutely, fitness side of the world taught me 1,000,001 things about people, engaging with people, talking to people, hosting events, how to be on stage. All these kind of things is great, and I truly value that side of the world, as well as obviously the fitness side of it, how to keep yourself fit mentally, physically, etc. So a lot of that I bring with me sort of across to the day job, if you like. And the MBA, absolutely. So that was something several years ago when I was at Body Shop magazine. Got to the point in life where it dawned on me that I just wanted to further my sort of formal education. There was no real rhyme nor reason for it, but I had a sort of inkling at the back of my head that I wanted to get a degree.
Yeah. You just want to do something more.
Something more, yeah, absolutely. So just to push the boundaries, I suppose, get me out of my comfort zone again. So long story short, we were lucky enough to have that, get a sort of an MBA qualification sponsored from the industry. 10 of us started out on that pathway. 7 of us kind of completed or got to the stage of a level 7 diploma. And then 3 of us went on to do our MBA. So over the course of 5 years, a lot of time spent studying, obviously, around the day job. So it was a busy time in life, that's for sure. And it just coincided with the start of a family and stuff. So it was a really good journey to go on. Learnt so much from our tutor, from my peers. It was just an amazing time, an amazing thing to do. Have I used everything I learnt?
Probably not.
Probably
we
not at all. Yeah, I'd like to think some of it I've certainly brought to the party. Is there an awful lot there that I've kind of forgotten and or don't necessarily use on a day-to-day basis? Absolutely, but it's a part of me that I'm very proud of for getting to that point, really. So I'd like to say yes, I brought everything with me. I think on a daily basis I often reference and in my head I'm thinking, right, I did that. I should know the answers or how to do these things, and I think it's always there if I want it, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. You've definitely built up a cross set of skills which you apply to your everyday work now.
That's all you can do, and I think that's a really interesting part of it is people see Mark Hadaway go up on stage and present in front of lots of people, and everyone says, "Oh God, you're a natural." If you would ask me to do that 10, 15 years ago probably now, I would have been absolutely petrified. There's no way in the world I would have done that. But, as I say, the massive learning from me is getting up, teaching exercise classes, did that for 15 years, 5 times a week. You learn an awful lot about people, environments, how you come across in front of people. And then, of course, I was given the opportunity and lucky enough to be given the opportunity in previous employees where I did it, went up on stage. And even to this day, the nervous excitement before going up on stage, whether that be helping out at the Gemini Christmas do or hosting, a large networking lunch or a small scale kind of conference, it's still that nervous excitement that builds up that, it's to me personally, I thrive on it, and I think it's fantastic. Believe you me, not all of it goes to plan, etc. all the time. But hey, you're up there and it's live and you're dealing with it, so it's great.
So on that, you've just had your first event of the year.
Yes.
On when was that? January the 4th?
January 19th.
19th.
Yep.
That was it. And that was the motor networking event. Again, you were up on stage hosting that.
Yep.
How did that go?
Yeah, so that's always a good one for us to kick off the year. So the I Love Claims Motor Networking Lunch, Grand Connaught Rooms in London, central London, and it's the 3rd Friday of every year in January. And it's basically the kickstart to the year. We receive some amazing feedback from that in terms of that event is, in everyone's calendar, everyone's diary. That's the one they look forward to. It's a great big networking event, but more importantly for us, it's a great opportunity to raise some much needed funds for the Rainbow Trust, our charity partner. which is the children's charity. So they do some amazing work, and every year there we have a raffle, a silent auction, and a live auction. To date, we've raised over well in excess now of 1.2 million for that charity.
Wow.
That's not the only event we do on an annual basis. We do for those guys, but it's certainly a major part of our fundraising for them and for the ILCE community. You know, we facilitate the event, but it's, you know, the ILCE community who are contributing to that incredible cause. So extremely proud of that. And this year it was a great event. We had Derek Redmond, we had Jason Robinson. So Derek Redmond, international athlete, probably best remembered as the guy whose dad jumped over the fence during the Olympics, World Athletics, and helped him limp to the finish, if you like.
I remember, yeah.
And Jason Robinson, obviously very well known in rugby circles, played both sides of the sport, international as well, a huge success and fascinating sort of background as to how he got into rugby. So great event, thoroughly enjoyed those two entertaining us for the day, and as I say, super successful in terms of what we did for the Rainbow Trust.
So you mentioned earlier New Generation. Obviously, Gemini, we work quite close with you for our apprentice events. We've hosted 3 apprentice award events now, 2 with yourself. And it's great because this year I think we've hit over 132 we've onboarded apprentices.
Amazing.
And we're on our cohort 10 this year. So I think it's over 30 that are qualified as well and still with us in roles, which is great. So hopefully we'll do that again this year. So what's the I guess the interest with New Generation and what you've picked up from on your side?
Yeah, hey, hats off to you. You are kind of industry leaders in this on the repair side of the world. I think where we were as I Love Claims, in each and every one of our conferences, the core topic of people comes to the fore. It doesn't matter if you're talking about home insurance or motor insurance or accident repair. It was a constant theme that we just kept hearing. We've always been keen, and again, referring back to our kind of strapline of Better Tomorrow, to ensure that the skill sets are available to the industry as times change. So last year we introduced a New Generation event, which for us was a kind of, you know, step outside of the norm, but it's one of those subject matters that is completely overrides everything we do and all the sectors that we're involved in. So we did that event, and that was hugely successful, first and foremost. Amazing to bring everyone together and talk about these things under one roof. And this year, we again want to push the boundaries with that. Yes, we've got the event coming up, but there's also a lot of work behind the scenes going into how can we make this, dare I use the term, more of a movement for the industry. Mm-hmm. Because, as I say, we hear it from so many people, and everyone's, you know, there's some people doing amazing things individually, yourselves being one of them. It's almost a case of how can we knit it all together, mm-hmm. as I Love Claims, draw people in and make sure as an industry we're putting the message out there. Because at the end of the day, as an industry, we're competing with other industries that are out there and facing the same challenges. So we have to make our industry be attractive, provide opportunities, provide career pathways for people. So we're hugely keen on progressing that. So hopefully we will work with the likes of yourselves, I am sure, in making this happen for 2024. So it's a super exciting time.
So Mark, on Next Generation of Talent, obviously we're trying to, you know, scream out like, yes, we're here. we run apprenticeships, we've got big opportunities for our apprentices, people who are working within Gemini, the industry as a whole. I guess you started out, going back to your background, default into editorial and Body Shop magazine. What opportunities come about for you, and where did you go with that?
It's been amazing, really. So again, when I sort of explained earlier what I was doing or how I got into the industry, there was a link there in the sense that my dad was into toying around with cars. I then got into playing around with cars and, you know, did various things on the driveway at home. Nothing quite like, obviously, what the industry does. But it was all sort of bits of the jigsaw, and it almost by default came around that I had the inkling of the sports journalism. I thoroughly liked cars anyway, and I was given the opportunity and a chance. And dare I say, it might sound a bit cliched, but kind of, grabbed it with both hands. And as I say, along that journey was hugely privileged to be given opportunities and supported by people in that business along the way, which I'll be eternally grateful for. And, still to this very day, huge influences on your career, although I am, dare I say it, more senior now in age, more than anything. But those people around me who hugely influence, decisions on a day-to-day basis or what I do. So it's almost kind of, learning from your environment that you're in. And again, referencing new generation, I think as an industry, we obviously focus an awful lot on young people coming into the industry, so which is often where we reference apprentices, but it needs to be available to all. So people transitioning careers, again, referencing back to those skill sets, learn, what would the association realistically be between the vehicle repair industry, journalism and exercise classes. It's not the sort of immediate things that would spring to mind, but it's those areas where we shouldn't be afraid to look at what other skill sets can we bring in to the industry that might not fit the mould at the moment, but they will undoubtedly have some skill sets that are transferable.
No, absolutely. I think that's what we've tried to do, is that, we offer it an apprenticeship, if you like, and training to people already within Gemini. There's almost 700 staff. I myself, I've transitioned and gone, do you know what, I need to learn more. What's this CIPD all about? Let's do that. So exactly, and I'm a bit older than some of the others. And I think you're right. It's about being available to all ages and to everyone. There's a new era for everyone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, credit to you and people who take those opportunities, because you have to show the willing to do these things and the expression of interest. And I'm sure, I speak out of turn, but Dave, I'm sure, is constantly looking within the business as, who's next? Who next can kind of move into different roles and things. And I think that's such an important part of it is, don't waste those opportunities, for want of a better term. You see these things. If you're good at something, then, hey, arguably let people know.
So I guess on that theme, if we keep it as this new era for everybody, I guess what advice or quote would you give?
Oh, you're asking me to delve into the Tony Robbins archives here,
there
aren't you? Gosh, I have so many when I'm not put under the spotlight. But do you know what? The one for me that always resonates, and it's going to sound hugely cliched, but treat other people as you wish to be treated yourself. I genuinely believe that if you can make people feel good, warm, energised, welcome, the rest, dare I say it, and again, it's oversimplifying things, which I am really good at doing. Any of my colleagues will tell you that, but the rest takes care of itself. So I think if that is one thing that you can do, whether that be in work, whether it be in a social environment, whether it just be, day-to-day life, if you can do that with people, you can fill people's day with a wry smile, a sign of joy, whatever it is, I don't know. So I think for me, that is the one thing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You've already made it. If that's what it is.
Stop it, you.
So, Mark, it's a bit of a tradition on the Gemini Way podcast that we end it by me asking you if you've got any stories that would be of interest to any of the listeners.
Interest to listeners, yes. Should I be broadcasting them on this podcast?
Yes.
Probably not. No. No, over the years, honestly, I've had some great times in this industry. Lots of people listening to this will know what the industry is like when we get together. Great fun. But some of the kind of visits I've done to body shops as well have been really, really eye-opening, because you see some cars in these places, and I can't name names, but you see some cars in these places that kind of belong to very interesting people and or have had interesting things happen to them. So it's just always eye-opening to go into a repair centre, first and foremost to meet the people, because every centre is different. And I know we try and box and say repair is a repairer is a repairer. That is absolutely not the case. I can assure you that each repair centre has a very different feel, very different people going on within there. So it's always interesting when you go in, and it's, as I say, it's always interesting to see what's going on in these places. So I've seen some really interesting things over the years. Sorry if that's a bit fluffy, but I can't kind of, give away too many details, but it's always good to go into these centres and you never walk away thinking, well, that was dull. It's always brilliant. So that's kind of as wild as the story we'll get for today.
No, brilliant, thank you. And thank you very much for being here with us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Later in life, what are you talking about?
Sorry.
Jeez, age me.